Come on. Come on. Say hi. Oh my gosh, please be careful, bud. It's my boy Milo. All right, you gotta get off now. Good boy. All right, so one of my favorite features about using the FX6 with the DJI RS4 Pro is the ability to film moving time lapses. It's one of my favorite things to do, kind of like this video right here. Cool, so if you haven't already watched my previous video on how I set the FX6 up on this Ronin, all the balancing and things like that, go ahead and check that out here. But today I figured I would show you my exact settings on what I use on the FX6 and then also how I set it up on the gimbal itself. So let's go ahead and get into the settings. So to get into the settings, go ahead and hold this menu button. All right, so to turn on the time lapse setting or the what they call is the interval shooting, I'm gonna go down to project, interval recording setting, turn that on. Okay, so the interval time is gonna vary based on what you're trying to portray visually. I have this time lapse cheat sheet that I use, and it kind of tells me why you would use 1 second over 3 over 5, and then what shutter settings to use as well, based on what you're trying to visually portray. You can actually grab this down below. There's a link to my Google Drive. You can just download it and use it whenever you want. But for right now, I'm gonna keep this at 1 second. Number of frames, also 1. And pre-lighting, I keep off. Go ahead and press this cancel/back button. And you can press it again, and then go ahead and press menu. That'll get you back to the main screen. All right, so the next thing you wanna look at is shutter. If you look here on the actual camera itself, there's a shutter button. Press that, and then you'll see on the screen it highlights in white. If you turn this counterclockwise, you're gonna get to all the Fs. And it goes all the way to 64F. Me personally, I like the 8F range. And like I said, here in this cheat sheet, I show why you would use like a 4F or 8F, 16F over the other. So go ahead and check that out. Keep that at 8F, and then you can hit shutter again to get off that. And then next we're gonna look at the iris. So right now I'm at a 2.8. For time lapses, I really like to be around 5.6 or higher depending on what the lighting's like outside. So go ahead and press the iris button on the camera. We'll turn this counterclockwise to 5.6. Go ahead and click the iris button again to get off that. Next, we have the ND. So over here on the camera, if you toggle this switch to the right to variable ND, and then if you hold this ND auto, it'll automatically adjust the ND based on your lighting situation, which is super important for time lapses. So go ahead and turn that on. Next, we have the white balance. On the camera itself, if you click the white balance button, you'll see a highlight here on the screen, and then you can adjust that to whatever you want. Again, based off of where you're at, outside, inside. It's recommended don't keep this on auto, keep it the same. So I'll just keep it, I'll go to around 5,000. Okay, and then go ahead and hit the white balance button to get off that. And the last thing I usually check is, the last thing I do check is to make sure the focus is on manual. Obviously you don't want autofocus because then it's just gonna focus in on whatever it sees. So make sure that's on manual, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, so the top right section I usually keep the same. I usually shoot at 24 frames per second, resolution 4K, XAVC-I. I shoot an S-Log3 because I just throw a phantom lens on it. In DaVinci, the base ISO, so there's, for the Cine S-Log, there's 2 native ISOs. I have my preset button number 2 to switch between the low and the high. So right now it's at the low. If I hit this button 2, I'll bring it up to the high. So right now I'll just bring it back to 800. So that's going to be it for the camera side. If you look up here at the top, you can see right next to standby right now, the INT is flashing. That's how you know you're in interval mode. And then next to that, it's 01S, 1 second. So we have it set for 1 second. So the next thing we're going to do is go into the Ronin itself. Okay, so on this screen, if you swipe left, you'll see at the top, there's a time lapse button. Go ahead and click that. First off, we're going to change the FPS to 24. Just tap on that. On the interval section, tap that. We're going to change that to 1 second. And then you can change the duration. So I have on here for an interval of 1 second. If you film for 4 minutes, you'll have a 10-second video length. So I'm going to just put this to 5 because I don't need more than 10 seconds. And again, this chart helps me out so much. So go ahead and grab that. Then once you're done with that, go back and then click next. Click the plus sign right here and then click the 1. It'll highlight in yellow. And then you're going to go ahead and move the camera around to where you want that first position. And then when you're done, go ahead and click the plus sign and then click 2 and then move the camera where you want using the joystick to where you want position number 2. And then when you're done with that, you can click preview. Okay. Well, so real quick, the reason why it spun like that was because on that horizon, you can see the degree. I went a little bit too far and it went negative. So that's why it spun like that. So just be careful when you're doing that. So then you can just go hit 1 to go back to position 1. And then I'm actually going to hit record on the camera. So now interval recording has started on the FX6. And then you press start on the Ronin. And after 5 minutes, it'll be done. All right, 5 minutes has passed. Let's see what it looks like. All right, so that's it. That's my process for creating a moving time lapse with the FX6 and the RS4 Pro. Unfortunately, it's only pan and tilt movements. You would need a slider if you want kind of like a dolly shot, which I will be getting in the future. But that's gonna be it. Don't forget to grab the cheat sheet. God bless, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.